Young Man with a Band.
1, 2.
Good evening, this is Dan Seymour bringing you another Young Man with a Band for the Columbia Recording Corporation. Now, this is the program that each week brings you one of the nation's most popular band leaders. He plays you the kind of music that put him on top in the movies and radio or on phonograph records. He becomes the hero in our musical story of his life, and besides that, he takes part in our one-of-a-kind recording session later on in the program. Some lucky person who's sitting innocently out there in our studio audience right now will get a chance to sing on a coast-to-coast network while a recording is made of the performance. But before we make this three-way personality of band leader, actor, and recording artist out of him, I think you ought to meet tonight's Young Man with a Band. And he's America's #1 drummer boy, Gene Krupa. How are you, Gene? And welcome to tonight's Chicago edition of Young Man with a Band.
Hello, Dan. I'm particularly happy to be with you here in Chicago because Chicago is my hometown.
Well, and how about making us particularly happy by giving us an example of that
we
Krupa
recently
band?
put on Columbia record. It's a little airplane impression called On the Beam.
Well, folks, that was On the Beam, just as Gene Krupa, the king of the drums, plays it on his new Columbia record. And Gene has made a lot of other great records for Columbia. One of the best is I'd Like to Recognize the Tune, which you'll hear in a minute or so, with all dressed up spick and Spanish on the other side. And you should hear that man Krupa drum his way through my old Kentucky home, which has old Black Joe on the other side. Another swell tune, which becomes extra special when done by Krupa, is Sweetheart, Honey, Darling Dear, which is backed by Take Your Love. Your dealer will be glad to play these hits for you. Be sure to ask for Columbia Popular Records.